Hey, and welcome to another episode of the Manufacturers Make Strides podcast. I'm your host, Martin Griffiths, and today I'm interviewing Rajiv Bongirwar. He's the CEO of Hemraj Consulting, where he's been for the last 13 years. He's had a fascinating life. He began in India. He joined the Indian Naval Defence League and went through some quite rigorous kind of training, really got pushed outside his comfort zone, ended up in the Indian Navy on aircraft carriers before moving to the UK and working in the US with global automotive and aerospace companies. He sees the big challenges of the world coming together to achieve the sustainability targets that are needed that were agreed on at COP26. And he thinks that design, safety, and security are things that should be designed into manufactured products from day one. So we dove into all of those things in today's interview. Let's get straight into it now. Good afternoon, Rajiv. Really good to have you here today on the podcast. How's it going for you?
Fine, thank you. Good afternoon, Martin, and thank you for inviting me.
Perfect, no worries. So really interested to dig into some of your expertise today and hopefully uncover lots of interesting things. Would you go so far as to say, would you call yourself an industry thought leader for the automotive sector?
Well, trying to be one of them.
So how have you got to that position? How did you get where you are today?
It's a pretty interesting story. I kind of fast rewind my personal story. Right from childhood, I had to be adaptive and resilient because my father was in the Indian Navy and he used to get transferred. So we used to change not just houses, but places and cities and schools. So almost every year I was in a new house, new school, make new friends and learn new environments. And interestingly, when I was a teenager, in grade 11, 16, 17-year-old, my father just challenged me. He said that there's this National Defence Academy examination and, it's pretty well competed across India. And, why don't you appear and, find where you are in the competition? So National Defence Academy is one of the unique military academies worldwide. It's the only place where officers from Army, Navy, and Air Force, all three services are trained together. In Karakwasla, and I actually had never ran even 50 meters at that time. So military and, but I took on that challenge. I said, okay, let me go through this exam. And it's a very fairly rigorous exam because it has three major components. The first is a 4 to 5 day interview process. Which combines, physical and academic. And so you've got physical activities, exercises you have to go through, group tasks, extempore speeches, IQ, emotional quotient, question answers, numeric analysis. And then you also have a medical exam, which is quite stringent. So I've gone through the selection board. Came out with flying colors, was selected, and then coming to the medical exam, I got rejected on 2 grounds, which was eyesight and weight. So the weight was also a challenge, and eyesight, I took it up as an appeal process, luckily. So I had to reduce 20 kilograms in 1 month, which I did, and came back for the repeat medical.
Wow.
And regarding the eyesight, I was able to appeal through an appeal process because I was eligible for the technical branches in the Indian Navy, not the executive branch where you navigate or command a ship. But I was eligible for technical branches. So I appealed and I said, I want to be in the technical branch because all the 3 choices of service had given as Navy. So either I got into the Navy or I didn't. So I was able to say, okay, I was cleared medically for the technical branch of the Indian Navy. The chief of naval staff, my father was also in the naval headquarters, which allowed him to give some access. So the chief of naval staff said, well, if your son wants to join, then I will approve. So that's how I joined the academy. From the academy, I never ran 50 meters. I had to run 400 meters in the first term. I had to go back for my drill test in second term. But in 2 years time, I was, +4 grading. You got -4 to +4 grading. So after that, you got, reward category. So I reached +4 grading in 2 years in physical activities as well.
Wow.
Came and then graduated from the National Defence Academy and joined the Indian Navy. Was in the INS Vikrant, which was the first Indian naval aircraft carrier. It's ex-Hercules. And it was a pretty interesting 13 plus years. And similar to the late Duke of Edinburgh, I left Indian Navy pretty interestingly exactly around the same time. Not to be a royal cohort, but joined various Indian IT, new services, IT services in Tata and Honeywell, different organizations. And I had actually, within the Indian Navy itself, I had designed and developed a major upgrade to one of the helicopters, anti-submarine helicopters, which was designed, developed in-house completely indigenously, and was productionized, and also the first digital communication system, which later on today is now in use in the Indian Navy.
Wow.
So when I moved out of the Indian Navy, I had already been into systems engineering, new product development, and because avionics was very controlled sector, I moved into automotive industry. So I moved from naval and air into automotive industry and applied the learnings I had in these new product developments and applied them in the automotive industry, and was able to offer embedded design development services to global customers, primarily in the US. It's about 9+ years I was doing that from various different organizations. And, after that, I said, it was more about my sons. I wanted them to be given the best access to education and the environment that was available worldwide. So I moved to the automotive industry and worked for global OEMs and tier ones, primarily based in the US. We did some pretty interesting product development for the Grand Cherokee. We came up with a completely new way of a harness system, which was much more simplified by distributing a centralized body control computer into multiple smaller control units, so that the wire harnesses would be simplified. And I'm sure the manufacturing industry understand the complexities of automotive harnesses and how complex they are. And if you can simplify them, you can reduce a lot of weight and cost of it. Yeah. And that's what funded this product development. So I had been doing that for 9+ years. And as I said, for myself, I really wanted to be in the country locally, where innovation, product developments, cutting edge products are being developed, and help in fast, expediting the route to market of innovative but yet reliable, safe, and secure products. From a personal standpoint, I wanted both my sons to get the best education facilities and opportunities. And that's how I decided to come over to the UK. And it was pretty interesting, because when I came to this country, I didn't have any job at hand. I was offered a job, but as my visa got delayed, it was an offer to a local candidate. But I had anyway, made up my mind and came into this country with literally 1 month of money to sustain myself in staying and living accommodation with a one-way ticket. Wow. And I came here, and I there was an economic downturn all of a sudden. Lehman Brothers fell in stock exchange, and there was people were losing jobs, and all migrants were going back to their home countries worldwide. I got worried calls from home saying, how are things, and are you going to be coming back? I said, look, what I learned in the National Defence Academy is, we never give up. And I said, I've come here with a one-way ticket. I'm not going back. And I set up my consulting firm then. And in under 6 weeks, I got my first consulting assignment with Jaguar Land Rover. That was back in December 2008.
Wow. That's amazing. I was going to ask before, but you've answered the question. It sounds like that early experience with the National Defence League, kind of taught you to push yourself outside your comfort zone.
Yes, absolutely.
To get to the results you want, you can't do what you've done in the past. So I guess that's what you've seen at this point, isn't it? That's amazing.
Absolutely, yes. And I think also in the Indian Navy and the National Defence Academy, the discipline and resilience, risk management, ability to plan events and prepare for all eventualities, managing change. Those are the things I was able to bring across in the corporate world and help my employers in the past and clients since I've established this firm in the UK to really come up, solve problems, deliver innovative products into market in record times, and also ensure that the products are safe, secure, and reliable, which is very important.
Yeah. So it seems to me it's an interesting time for manufacturing industries at the moment, whether that be automotive, kind of aerospace or defense. What do you think are the biggest challenges facing them in the next, decade, say?
So I think the underlying challenge that our planet faces is, the zero carbon emissions and 1.5 degrees. The COP26 in Glasgow was, I think, pretty much, I think it was very good because we got some firm commitments, and a lot of actions that have been delayed in the past are hopefully now, are on track. This summit. So to that goal, to that end goal, technology is playing a role. And you see the autonomous or automated vehicles, electrification, connected and shared mobility, and sustainable mobility. That's a real revolution that's, on the horizon, and we are already seeing it. We are seeing the revolution and uptake of electric vehicles. There's also a lot of work on hydrogen fuel cells, connectivity. And what we need to remember is, while this technology is a promise to deliver the COP26 targets, it comes with its own challenges. And the challenges are, safety, security. To give you an example, NHTSA, for example, would as much as $35 million could be a penalty for a vehicle manufacturer or a product, tier one supplier not performing due diligence in safety critical parts. 2016 was, in terms of recalls, like $22 billion spent in recalls of vehicle recalls just in the United States. And if you look at from 2019 again, things have stabilized, and now from 2019 again they are increasing. Obviously, in 2020, you would see there's a kind of fall in the recall rate because there were not vehicles moving for most parts of the year. But what's really happening is these layers of automation. There are increasing layers of automation, which was already there. And now with the, you started off with the engine engine combustion, engine management systems, body control, remote keyless entry. You got features, and you got lane keeping, auto assist, cruise control and assisted cruise control. So there are so many layers of automation that are increasing in the vehicle that's now causing exponential increasing opportunity for malfunction.
Yeah.
And these malfunction are on one end causing safety hazards, accidents of the, humans involved, infrastructure. And on the other hand, they are, creating, new uh, um, opportunities for security threats and hackers to come and penetrate into the not only the automotive vehicle, but also through the vehicle, the entire organization, the OEM's IT infrastructure, which has happened in the past, and these are increasing. So while we need to, leverage the advantages that the technology offers, we also need to be understanding what are the challenges and address them by designing safety and security upfront, rather than try to show on in at a later stage when it is much more expensive and much less effective.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you think, so I guess what you say, and I kind of agree with this. I'm not sure if the vision is kind of expressed clearly enough, but I guess you're saying the vision should be that we have, a number of years, a number of decades to save the planet, basically.
Yeah.
And everyone should be working together towards that goal, really.
Yeah.
Do you think, in the way we're approaching it now, do you think it's achievable? The actions that manufacturing companies are taking are clearly working towards that goal?
I think there is a lot of hope, as was evident from COP26. But as was also said, I think it's now actions rather than words that matter. So I think each one has to look at what he or she or their firm can do in contributing to this. And that could be as small as, minimizing waste, avoiding waste, making efficient processes, thinking about safety and security at all times. So I believe, the need of the hour is collaborative partnerships. Work on your strengths, and remember, in this complex, ever-changing world, especially for this current decade that we are in right now, we have to work with the experts in the areas that we are not having expertise, and collaborate and make 1 + 1 = 11. That's the only way to be able to achieve these targets and save the planet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting. So what are some things that you're working on at the moment? How do you get involved in helping people in manufacturing?
Yes, so I'm actually working with different clients. One is in the defense sector. I can't give the details, but it's land vehicles, right from design development to manufacturing, in the safety assessment, in creating the safety case, assessing the safety case, making sure the safety analysis is performed and fed into the design, and so the design of the product is safe, rather than we find during the safety validation the product is about to be launched and we come up with issues which are difficult to address, which either delay the launch or kind of lot of hours have to go in new design, new changes in software, in hardware, new parts, and that churn. So there's also another client which I'm working, which is a tier 1 software solution provider for the autonomous electric vehicles industry. They come up with software solutions for efficient battery management systems, which is heart of the electric vehicles. And I'm working with other defense clients in coming up with for the Ministry of Defense in new ways of assuring safety and using the state-of-the-art risk analysis techniques in identifying safety hazards as comprehensively as you can. One of the interesting things we need to understand, which the manufacturing industry understands pretty well, is the process FMEA from a manufacturing standpoint, but what feeds into it is the design FMEA. And you have got FMEA, fault tree analysis, inventory analysis, and these techniques have been around since 1960s, 1970s. From early 80s when ENIAC, the first computer, came, to today, and per Moore's law, with the exponential growth of the computing capability and the complexity of vehicles taking over the role of a human today, which is being talked of and being piloted on the roads. It's quite strange that we still believe the techniques of 60s are going to help us in identifying and assessing the hazards upfront in the 20th century. So we need to be able to adapt to what are the latest techniques that are available, and how we can harness them together and use them along with the existing techniques in not only legacy products that are being updated with new technologies, but also new product development. And hence, I'm partnering with some leading world leading academic institution and doing potentially collaborative research, seeking funding from the Innovate UK and other options to kind of come up with delivering a product to all the stakeholders of a product, be it manufacturers, designers, developers, end users, regulators, insurance companies. How can they all have their view of a single version of truth, to have a product that is seamlessly operating and allowing that one version of truth to be provided to different perspectives, different end users for what they need in a real-time way, keeping in mind, protecting GDPR and intellectual property of all the stakeholders involved. So that's really the goal that I am heading along with my partners, and we are working towards it.
That sounds exciting. Yeah. So what changed you? What do you see that enabling for your customers? What do you think that will? What problems that can solve, or how will that?
I think just to give examples of what an example of what I have recently helped my client achieve is the leading tier 1 organization trying to come up with a safety concept, spending about 3 months, and we're still coming up using the existing techniques and trying to come up with a safety concept.
Yeah.
And I worked with my client, and we together came up with a concept in less than 4 weeks, means a third of the time.
Yeah.
Which was more comprehensive and allowed the subsequent product development activities to proceed using the innovative techniques that I mentioned to you. So this is one example, and what would the customers benefit if we are able to productize my 30 plus years consulting and experience with product design and development, which I want to share with a wider organizations rather than keeping limited to few clients that I can manage in at a time, is that they are able to design integrated safety and security upfront. So safety design upfront itself has been a challenge, and now you have to add security and work on an integrated security and safety design upfront, which is adding another dimension or order of magnitude of complexity into the problem which was already unsolved.
I get it. The days in manufacturing I didn't have experience like as many like complex things coming together, but it would just be, we would get a design handed over from the design guys. They would have done their design FMEA on it. Now it was up for us to do the manufacturing process and do our process FMEA. If you get stuck with a design that's very hard to manufacture, then it was just it had already been handed over. It was difficult to push back at that point. I guess what you're saying is you do all of this, that plus security plus the safety up front, you get it right, kind of in design in principle before any, any metal's cut. then it's a
Yeah,
much more kind of seamless, efficient
yeah.
way. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's really, really interesting. Really interesting. Um, amazing. Slightly different note. Do you have any? You've done some amazing things in your career. You've learned a lot. Do you have any tools or techniques that have helped you cope with to get where you are today, basically?
Well, I think I'd just like to share a few things for your audience. Is I think each one of us have a reason that we are here in the planet, and each one of us is unique.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have to connect with ourselves and really do some introspection and find what are our strengths. Because each one of us has those strengths and they are hidden somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where I think it would help to work with a mentor and coach. I would say a mentor because a mentor can be both a coach and a mentor, while as a coach is pretty much short-term engagement. So I think work with a mentor, who can really, bring out the best in you, bring out the best in your organization, and give you a roadmap of, what should be your target, and once you decide what's your target, know how to get there. Mm-hmm. So I think, and then that could be whomsoever you want to find there, and you can find, but you need to find somebody and work with them towards this goal.
So have you had some good mentors along the way in your career?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, as I said, starting with my father in my childhood, and I had some mentors, whom I've not met very often, very remote. I'd like to share, Sir Paul Raj, who was in the Indian Navy, and interestingly, he was also from the National Defence Academy from India, Scotland, mm-hmm. and my father was a divisional officer because my father was also in the Navy, and so he cited me as a role model, and he was the inventor of APSO sonar for the Indian Navy, and he is now in the Hall of Fame in the US patent inventors. I think over 37 patents in his name. Okay. He was the joint patent holder of MIMO, multiple input, multiple output, which was, originator of 5G. Mm-hmm. So he was a National Defence Academy graduate. He did his, masters through the Indian Navy, like I did my IT in Kharagpur. And then he designed the APSO, which is one of the best sonars of the Indian Navy, which was completely individually designed, developed, and tested by him. And then he's moved to the US in Stanford University, and made lots of inventions which are helping, like 5G, for example. So the humanity is benefiting from all the good work that he has done. So that's just giving you one example of the kind of people I look up to for inspiration.
Mm-hmm. That's brilliant. Do you have any favorite books that you would recommend?
I had listened to your interview of Paul Mascots, one of your recent interviews, and I thought, rather than recommending books, I would recommend each of your manufacturing directors or anybody in your audience. I would encourage them to write, and write, be it a biography, be it an autobiography, or be it something, what is their passion? Because yes, I do appreciate this question you asked, because average CEO reads 3 to 5 books in a month, and a good CEO probably reads 8 or 9 books a month. So I think all of your audience are already reading and probably know, and have these sources. But I would urge them to write and share with the community, share with the world, what they have, because what they have is unique to them, and people could learn from that, and be it good experiences or not so good experiences. You can learn from anything. If somebody has gone through very circumstances, and probably how they have pivoted in the COVID pandemic, for example, could be an inspirational story for someone else. So I think it's important to also write and share rather than just read and learn.
Yeah, so I'd like to dig into the detail of that. What's your writing practice look like? Do you have a daily writing practice or habit?
Yeah, good question. I'm not so regular, but I have been writing, I've written papers for the Society of Automotive and SAE International. So back in 2007, I wrote a paper about, so to give back to the, what the new tools and techniques which I have used and learned and applied in projects that I did back in 2002. I then captured that, and it's wrote it through a paper which was presented in SAE International in April 2007. And interestingly, again, earlier this April, I presented another paper like 14 years, but again challenging. The vehicle recalls are increasing, so pretty much the same topic, but a new perspective and what has changed in the last 14 years. And I've also been writing, small on posts on LinkedIn, some conferences. For example, I attended this STAM conference last year and made a 5-minute video. So, what if somebody who had didn't have 3 days to go to a 3-day conference, they could just listen to my 5-minute, watch my 5-minute video and get the gist of it. Also, I have, conducted workshop, and some organizations have invited me, and I have shared, some of my techniques and how some case studies of examples of how these techniques can be applied in their organizations with their functional safety and systems engineering professionals, and also with the C-level suit in some cases. So it's a mixed bag, with this writing for LinkedIn or proper papers, which now have found their way in the, proceedings of the conferences, which are archived. So they're always, they're available and stored for the future. So it's a mixed bag. And I actually, because of the nature of my work, I'm working in pretty demanding projects most part of the time. Interestingly, in Ford Motor Company, for example, I was this single, responsible person for all the engine control features in all vehicle launches. So all diesel vehicles of Ford, I was responsible for all the engine control features in their products. So it's been a challenge, but I have, I kind of take time out and then, come up and, write a paper or write an article. And I probably should be writing more, but I'm trying to, balance in delivering successes and solutions to the problems of my client, the reasons of my existence and my pursue my passion, and then also step back and share with the learnings with the community.
Yeah, it's a really interesting recommendation. I'm trying to kind of implement a daily journaling process in the morning. I do it as part of the 30 minutes after I wake up. It's challenging. I haven't done anything like that for a long time, probably, since like I was in school. But, it's, I think it definitely gives like a different type of kind of clarity to your thoughts when you have to write, get stuff down in a way that hopefully makes sense.
Absolutely, yes, that's right. One more thing I would like to mention, again, inspired from your talk with Paul, talking about the best version of yourself. And what I do for charity as a part of Heartfulness organization, I'm also a certified heartfulness trainer. And heartfulness is a unique meditation practice, and it's accompanied by subtle life energy. And what it helps to do is to be focused, to be connected with yourself, to be at peace when the environment around is turmoil, and remain happy and calm in, no matter what the external circumstances may be. So I've also done this in corporates, for Volvo trucks. When I was consulting, I used to conduct this twice a week, and some organizations again have conducted, weekly. And this is, completely free of charge. Our Heartfulness is completely offers this service worldwide, over 133 countries with 10,000 plus trainers. We offer it completely free of charge. And it's we also are associated with the United Nations, and the ashram in India, which is Kana Ashram, it's complete about 250 acres, was a desert, completely abandoned, dry, which is now, a forest with all sorts of trees and more than, the first 100,000 tree was planted by the President of India, and it's a growing forest and a lot of wildlife around. So that's, I think, I could probably share the link for your audience. If they're interested, they can look up on the website and also contact me, and I can conduct taster sessions for them in their organizations, and they can take it from there.
That sounds really interesting. Yeah, that'd be great. So we'll share the details of that in the links below. Yeah, that brings us nicely onto then. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
LinkedIn, my email. I don't put my number on my website, but I can tell you if people listen to this video, then it's +44 755 7977 419. They can also look up my website as a contact form, and they can book a meeting with me, a complimentary strategy session for 45 minutes. Links on the website.
Brilliant. Thanks. We'll post those links in the descriptions below. Thanks very much, Rajiv. That was really, really interesting. So, some of your experiences and some of the lessons that you have there. That's great. Thanks for your time, and hope you have a great afternoon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Martin. Pleasure is mine as well. Have a good weekend, and best wishes to you and all your audience, and also best wishes for the Christmas and New Year.
Yeah, thank you.